Jaguars fans, welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. Obviously, you can see not at the normal studio. Little man not feeling too good, so I had to pivot the plans. We're over here at the in-laws, so I apologize for any audio or video issues, whatever it may be. But did want to talk about another ranking that came out via PFF. They have been supplying us with a lot to talk about over the last several weeks. It is the dead period in the NFL, so we're looking at lists, we're looking at rankings, all that good stuff. PFF's ranking of the defensive lines across the league was pretty startling and shocking to me. So we're going to dive into that, where the Jaguars fit, all that good stuff. Really appreciate y'all tuning in, supporting this channel. If you enjoy the content here, it's obviously all Jags all the time. Please like. If you have not already, subscribe. Let me know what you think about the Jaguars defensive line in general in the comment section below. We're going to dive into it. If you've been paying attention to my coverage of the Jaguars this offseason, I feel pretty darn good about the Jags defensive line. I think that it's fair to have some questions about the interior of the defensive line, but there should be no questions about the Jaguars edge group. Again, in my opinion, Josh Hines-Allen, in my opinion, a top 10 edge in this league, easily. One of the more well-rounded edge players in the league, as a really, really good pass rusher who is capable of flirting with 20 sacks in a year. Trayvon Walker entering his fourth year in the league. Another really well-rounded player who, not the most dynamic pass rusher yet, but he has built and built and built. And hey, 10 sacks in each of the last two seasons, double-digit sack seasons each of the last 2 years. That doesn't happen on accident. You combine that with the fact that he is an unbelievable physical freak, and he brings it every single play, and he's a great run defender. So you've got two great run defending edges. I would say one upper echelon pass rusher at edge in Josh Hines-Allen, and then Trayvon Walker, who is an ascending pass rusher, who again has double-digit sacks each of the last 2 years. And you have Emmanuel Ogbah, who has played for the Jaguars defensive coordinator Anthony Campanile, who has been a very effective edge 3, rotational edge in this league. Somebody who can move around a bit, create pressures, produce sacks at a reasonably high level for an edge 3. When it comes to edge 4, you've got a lot of options. Dennis Gardeck came over from the Arizona Cardinals, and he's been a banshee type of edge rusher during his career. When he gets on the field as a pass rusher, he really gets after it. Just unbelievably fast. Undersized guy, but he makes the most of his opportunities. He's coming off an ACL. You have Miles Cole going into year 2. You're hoping to see some development from him. You have DeJuan Smoot, who you brought over from Buffalo. I would put him in the driver's seat as edge 4. He and Ogbah both have some size to where they can convert down inside, and you saw DeJuan Smoot do that a good bit when you get into these lightning pass rushing situations. I think you could see Ogbah, Smoot, Hines-Allen, Walker all on the field at the same time in clear pass rushing situations at times. And again, Gardeck, Miles Cole. You brought in Jalen McLeod with a 6th-round pick, who's a productive pass rusher out of Auburn. Played some off-ball linebacker, played some edge. He's got some pop to his game as well. Yasir Abdullah fighting to make the roster in year 3 of his young career. So I think one of the things when I think about the NFL and I think about teams and roster construction, you don't necessarily have to have a clear answer at a position entering a season. And the Jaguars obviously do at the top of the edge group. But when it comes to edge 4, even though I do think DeJuan Smoot is a pretty clear answer there, do the Jaguars have enough potential answers that could be quality answers to the question of edge 4 that with good coaching, high effort, they can achieve success with a deep rotation of pass rushers? I think the answer is unequivocally yes. A lot of times you look at like last year, that was one of the big issues I had with the way they put together the team. The one player they had who looked like he had an opportunity to maybe be a decent rotational edge, they traded away. Travis Gibson. So they've done a much better job, this new regime, in my opinion, putting together a really sound deep edge group. I think that if PFF was just ranking the edge groups in the league, the Jaguars would certainly be higher than where they had them, which I don't even know if I mentioned yet. It's 29th. 29th. That means there's 3 teams they have lower than the Jaguars when it comes to the defensive line, which is shocking to me. Absolutely shocking. But they do mention the interior of the defensive line, for now, looks like the worst in the league. That's a bold statement. Bold statement I don't agree with. Eric Armstead obviously did not have a great year last year. But is Eric Armstead the type of player who you view last season as a blip in an otherwise very, very good career as an interior penetrator? That's kind of how I'm viewing the situation. He came into a bad situation. They wanted him to play edge. They thought he was their answer at edge 3 instead of playing him as a 3-tech interior penetrator style of player, right? Which that's what he's thrived with the last several years in San Francisco and really through much of his career. I think Eric Armstead, based on his tape on the interior last year, when he actually was aligned on the interior, and obviously before he got here with the last couple years in San Francisco, I think Eric Armstead can be a really good interior defensive lineman. Somebody who in an attacking style defense, that's what this will be. An attacking style defense doesn't necessarily mean you're blitzing a ton. I do think they'll have blitz packages in certain pass rushing situations and certain situations, but I think they're going to try to get home a lot with 4. Does Eric Armstead help you as an interior defensive lineman on the field with Trayvon and Josh get that job done? I think he absolutely does. I think you can say the same thing about Mason Smith, right? Mason Smith is a guy who, when he was on the field late in the season last year as a rookie, was generating pressure, was getting in the backfield, doing a good job. And then you also have Devon Hamilton, who is the biggest guy they have there, and he's a player that did not have his best season in 2024. And 2023, his playing career almost got ended with an abscess on his spine, and he lost a ton of weight, and he was having to get back into his sort of football shape, into his proper weight, muscle mass, all that stuff. He didn't have to worry about that going into 2025. All he's got to worry about is playing ball. And before he had that issue with his spine, he was easily a quality starter as a big nose tackle who can also push the pocket. So I think you've got a nice group of 3 right there. I absolutely do. And I look at the Jaguars' defensive front, I think it's going to be really good. I think that's going to be one of the areas where, we talked about potential weaknesses earlier this week. I do not think it's a potential weakness in any way, shape, or form for the Jaguars. I think it's going to be really good. I think PFF is going to look wrong on this one, as wrong as they have looked on anything for the Jaguars when it comes to these lists and rankings. I've been mostly in lockstep, in agreement with a lot of the stuff they've put out, or either been in lockstep or understood why they felt a certain way. I can't see it with this one. I think that not valuing Eric Armstead as an interior defensive lineman is a mistake. I think not valuing what you saw from Mason Smith down the stretch is a mistake, and I think not acknowledging the fact that Devon Hamilton, who did play a little bit better last year, down the stretch at times, you saw some flashes of it, and you're seeing him look better so far this year. Obviously, You want to see that in training camp and in the preseason, then you can get really excited about it. But you combine all the things we've talked about, and I think the Jaguars have more than good enough interior defensive line for it to be a plus, a significant plus for them week in and week out. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Really appreciate you tuning in, supporting the channel. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and y'all have a good one.